and Yai Dai Dais. If you'd like to find the lyrics, we'll have them up on the screen. But like I said, we're starting with Yai Dai Dai. I think most of you can handle that. But then the words will also be on page 45. Yai Dai Dai, Yai Dai Dai, Yai Dai 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 Dai, Yai Dai Dai, Yai Dai 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 Dai, Yai Dai Dai, Yai Dai Dai, Yai Dai 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 Dai, Yai Dai Dai, Yai Dai 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 Dai. A thought has blown the marketplace away. There is a song on the wind and a joy in the trees. Shabbat arrives in the world, scattering a song in the silence of the night, and eternity utters a day, and eternity utters a day. Oh, Yai Lai Lai, Yai Lai Lai, Yai Lai 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 Lai, Yai Lai Lai, Yai Lai 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 Lai, Yai Lai Lai, Yai Lai Lai, Yai Lai 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 Lai, Yai Lai Lai, Yai Lai 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 Lai. We enter into Shabbat and we have the sounds of the shofar to help awaken us, to remind us we are in the month of Elul, this auspicious time leading up to the High Holy Days. But we are also here for Shabbat, a time of rest, a time of comfort, a time of meaning. And we are here as community together. And so I really want to hear you this time as we all join together for Yai Lai Lais. Join with me now. Yai Lai Lai, Yai Lai Lai, Yai Lai 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 Lai, Yai Lai Lai, Yai Lai 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 Lai, Yai Lai Lai, Yai Lai Lai, Yai Lai 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 Lai, Yai Lai Lai, Yai Lai 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 Lai, Yai Lai Lai. Shabbat Shalom. It is so wonderful to see the sanctuary so full today. I know that so many of us are coming from so many different places and paths and speeds and times and buzzes and beeps. But you've done it. You've arrived. You're at Shabbat. And that's all that we need to be and all we need to do for the next little bit together. I'm Rabbi Dana Benson. I'm joined by my partner in prayer, Rabbi Laura Rumpf. It's an honor to be joined musically by Noah Zeichner and Emma Howeiler, as well as, of course, Jamie Shore, who makes sure we can be seen and heard both here in the sanctuary as well as at home. And our Shamashim this evening, Stephen Landau and Leah Ball, who helped give those prayer books out to you. And of course, there are many other people in our community who are joining us. We just can't see them because they can only see us. And so we're going to turn around to that camera right back there, and we're going to give a warm Shabbat Shalom to all those people. Shabbat Shalom!
Shabbat Shalom.
And I now invite you to take a moment to maybe connect with somebody who's sitting around you. Maybe it's somebody you came with and just haven't gotten to talk to yet. Maybe it's somebody you've never met before. But take a few moments now to say Shabbat Shalom to someone around you.
How's the monitor working? Okay. I don't know how she fixes that.
of my greatest sadnesses in this work, is to ask a group of Jews to be quiet. So I apologize, because I'm the one who gave you a chance to talk to each other in the first place. But we are going to draw back together, and I hope that this is just a taste, a little bit of the conversations you'll continue to have as you enter into Shabbat with us here during services. We also want to take a moment and acknowledge that we are standing on land that has been cultivated and taken care of for generations. All across our planet, we recognize the need to understand the land we are on, the way it nourishes us, the way it nourishes the food that goes into our body. And as part of Jewish tradition, we recognize and hold gratitude for those who have nurtured and cared for this land before us, specifically the indigenous tribes, the Duwamish tribes, and the Coast Salish tribes of this area. So we are grateful to them and continue to partner with them for greater learning and understanding.
Thank you, Rabbi Dana. We are going to illuminate our sanctuary. It's already so much brighter for all of you being here. I need Shabbat. I see a room of people who are making Shabbat together, and I feel deeply whole. And as we illuminate our sanctuary with our Shabbat candles, we're going to get a chance to bask in Shabbat's glow, and we're also going to acknowledge with heavy hearts that it has now been 11 months that we have been lighting an extra candle on our bima in prayer for safe return of hostages in Israel and Gaza. So many hearts broke again, or perhaps more, if that's possible, this week to hear of the loss of life of 6 young people whose families had hoped to reunite with them. And we're going to share their names and hold a prayer for them at Kaddish. But as we light our candles, we're going to remain connected also to those families who are still awaiting the safe return of loved ones, and share Shabbat's glow with all of those who've been impacted and devastated by war, and just hold the blessing that it is to be in this sanctuary and also extend that blessing to a world that needs it. Please join me in the blessing.
You can find the blessing for the candles on page 2 if you'd like to join with.
Okay. Ooh.
We take in the hope for peace. We take in a hope for kindness. And we take in a hope for continued love and compassion for all people as we join in our blessing together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu le'adlik ner shel Shabbat. And so we turn to words of Ki Eshmera Shabbat.
Yes.
If Shabbat can guard and keep us, maybe we can be guarded and kept a little bit better too, right?
I like that. Yes, yes. We go into these first Kabbalat Shabbat prayers with a lot of the word to keep and to protect, and also that God is the beloved, Dodi. And I particularly love that as Rabbi Dana reminded us, we are in this month of Elul, and I don't know about you, but I got a little tremble hearing the shofar. There's a heightened intensity to this month, and there is with it simultaneously and necessarily a call to be beloved, and to be compassionate with ourselves in the work of tshuva and the work of spiritual accounting that this month brings us to. And I think Shabbat's welcome, Shabbat's Kabbalat is to wed that compassion, that sense of being the beloved, with spiritual depth.
Amen.
So with that, we will turn to page 10 and follow Rabbi Dana's guidance and our wonderful musicians. Ki eshmera Shabbat.
Ki eshmera Shabbat, el yishmereini. Ki eshmera Shabbat, el yishmereini. Oti leomeod, beno uveni. Oti leomeod, beno uveni. Ki eshmera Shabbat, el yishmereini. Ki eshmera Shabbat, el yishmereini. We continue on page 20 with words of Lecha Dodi as we welcome in the Sabbath bride, and we pick up the pace a little bit of our service with some Lecha Dodi.
This is your invitation to dance. I think that's what Rabbi Dana's saying.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Shamor v'zachor, v'dibur echad hishmi'anu. El hameyuchad Adonai echad, hu shemo echad l'shem multiferet, v'litfila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nilcha, ki mekor hameracha merosh mikeder nesucha sof ma'aseh b'machshava tfila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Verse 5. Hitoreri, kiva orech, kumi ori, shir daberi kevod Adonai, alayich nigla. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekavela. We rise and face the entrance if it is your custom. Boi v'shalom, ateret ba'ala gam besimcha, u'v'tzola tachem unei aham segula. Boi chala, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekavela.
All right, and with the palpable shift to being a community on our feet, I'm going to invite you to stay on your feet if you already are. We're going to rise however you are able and turn to face our Torah ark doors as we turn to our communal prayer that we say when we are together in community on page 28, Baruch Hu.
Yai, yai, yai.
take a seat and acknowledge the onset of evening in our sky, we offer this prayer. In the beginning, you made the night sky luminous with the light of the moon and the stars, and you made the daytime bright with the light of the sun, and you saw that it was good. And you created human beings in your own image with capacity to distinguish dark from light, to create holy sparks, to see into the shadows and shine light where there is darkness, and you saw that it was very good. Creator of all, too many lights have been extinguished. The world has grown too dark. Teach us once more to see into the shadows, to shed our light in all the corners that need it, and to create holy sparks for all humankind, so that once more we can say, it is very good. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. I invite you now once again to rise if it is your custom, and this time we're going to do so with a sense of calm, of ease, as we enter into the Shema, a prayer that really is a call to listen and is quite profound when you can also listen to the inhale and the exhale of the person beside you as we all anchor ourselves in this brief and potent prayer together. Page 34. If your eyes are open and if your eyes are closed, don't worry about it.
We continue on page 36 with words of the Ve'ahavta. Please join with me. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha v'chol nafshecha v'chol me'otecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'elech asher anochi mitzavecha hayom levavecha ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך ובביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני Adonai Elohechem. Adonai Elohechem emet.
Rabbi Laura, I always say that you can tell the place the person davened last by the melody of the Vayahafta they sing.
It's true. It's true.
It's the
My voice
fingerprint.
still cracks in the same place every time. So yes, it is.
It's like a b'nai mitzvah, like it's told
Yes,
over that
yes.
your body does it.
I transport several decades back.
I just think it's one of those beautiful things that as you hear the cacophony of people singing the Vayahafta, you recognize the fingerprint of the Jewish tradition. That there are so many sounds, so many melodies, so many little pieces here and there. And while we do try to eventually make it uniform, especially for our B'nai Mitzvah students, it still shares with us that beautiful imperfection that is the perfectness of Jewish melody and music.
Yeah, thank you. So Rabbi Dana already introduced us to one powerful custom for Elul, which is to hear the shofar. And if you didn't get a chance to hear it because you were not here right at the beginning of services, there's so many more days of Elul to hear it. Another powerful custom throughout this month is to encounter Psalm 27. And that psalm that we read includes this prayer among many other verses that are so worth a closer read. And if you're curious, let me know. But this one says, "One thing I ask of you, God, source beyond ourselves, this alone do I seek, that I may dwell in your house all the days of my life." And I really hear that, particularly in a place, Beth Am, that has home in its name, a house of the people, and also think about what it means to come home to safety, to shelter, to a deep sense of belonging that we wish for ourselves, that we wish for others, and that same sense of homeness and shalom is contained in our prayer Hashkivenu, which we'll sing together now. And that's on page 42.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom V'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom V'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom V'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim.
Save us for the sake of your name.
Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Hashkivenu Adonai
Eloheinu l'shalom V'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom V'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim
one of my favorite rabbinic teachings, just a one line that says, make your heart a heart of many rooms. And I'm taking that tonight to mean that there's room for all of it. Everything that we've brought to this sanctuary, every emotion that may be coexisting in this room amongst others and also just within our own beings. So we're going to make our heart a heart of many rooms as we invite you to stand once more for our Amidah, our central prayer that will begin all together and then leave plenty of space for silence, for the words, the meditations, the prayers that you most need to share in this space. We'll start all together on page 46.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Continue in silence, standing, seated, on the page, off the page, however you prefer to be.
imrei fi vehegion libi lefanecha iu leratzon imrei fi vehegion libi iu leratzon imrei fi vehegion libi lefanecha Adonai Adonai tzori v'goali Adonai tzori Adonai tzori v'goali Go inside your heart and see Go inside your heart and be what it wants, what it needs, what it yearns when you breathe. Go inside your heart and see. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be kind, be true. May they be acceptable to you, oh God, my rock, my redeemer.
Sacred things we can do in community, and particularly on Shabbat, is to extend prayers for healing. And particularly coming into this Shabbat, you know, I have names on my heart, and I wonder if you all do too. I imagine you do. People who are in need of healing of mind, of body, and spirit, those we're connected to intimately and beyond. I'm going to invite anyone who'd like to share a name or several names out loud as I move across the room, and then we'll join together in the words of Misha Berach. Holding those names close, we sing the words of Misha Berach on page 253.
Misha Berach Avoteinu Avraham Yitzchak veYaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel veLeah Hu yevarech veYirafeh et hacholim
Thank you. I love hearing those names and the cadence with it, that sense that we're connected to so many generations who have offered each other prayers for healing in every context we find ourselves in. I want to know, what does newness smell like to you? You can tell me your real answer after services, but perhaps you are conjuring the first inhale of morning air after a brilliant, unseasonal rain, or the particularly satisfying inhale of a blank page of a new journal, or that downy, soft whiff of a newborn's head that you cannot help but snuffle. It is too sweet. And now I have another sensory question for you. How hard do you work not to inhale when you take out the compost? Yeah, that slimy mix of Tuesday's banana peels, yesterday's carrot tops, and God knows what else. I won't ask you to conjure that smell, but I hope I am not offending avid gardeners in this room when I say I do not love this chore. And I admit I've been internalizing these two viscerally different sensory experiences a lot as I observe my own approach to Elul, this season of spiritual preparation for the Jewish New Year. I live for a threshold moment, which Elul certainly is, the place of all possibility that propels one forward into the unknown with the energy of buoyant courage and beginner's mind. Beginnings are exciting, and I want to be there now. I want us to be there now, new and blank and fresh with wonder, free of the heaviness, the baggage of last month, last year, that one awful week that brought us to our knees, or the conversation that went so awry we lost a connection. Essentially, I am tempted to fast forward to the aliveness of new beginnings and fresh starts without carefully tending and turning the soil in which new seeds must be planted, without getting into the muck of all that has been, especially with all that is so heavy, so devastating in our wider world, our Jewish world, our inner worlds. But that's a garden plan even I know enough to know leads to ineffective or non-existent growth. Before we can really stand at the threshold of a new year and sing with our people, Hayom Harat Olam, today the world is birthed anew, as we do on Rosh Hashanah, our work in Elul is to contemplate, digest, and yes, to compost, to be total with what is ending, or what can no longer be life-giving in its current form, to be willing to leave it on the mush pile, so to speak. Our tradition, our Torah, reminds us of the worthiness of giving weight and attention to that which is on our mush pile and cautions that we not rush it. We are right in the middle of the last book of Torah, Devarim or Deuteronomy, whose summary could be Moses' attempt to use everything he has, everything, including not only God's word, but his own experiences, frustration, anger, shortcomings, in order to teach us to move forward in a wise and rooted way as he says goodbye to a chapter that, for better or worse, is closing. If I may be so bold, it seems Moses is modeling the earthy wisdom of composting, turning and turning the soil of life experience, mining it for its memories and lessons, ensuring that the material of what has been, not only the nostalgic joy and victory, but the grief, the errors, the rot of what did not serve, does not go to waste in a new season. In this way, what is ending is also nurturing and enriching all that is possible, all that has yet to be realized that we so deeply yearn for, not only for ourselves, but all that could thrive if we each found the divinity in this humble, sometimes odorous work. When we attune to it, our holiday cycle tells a deeply ecological story in addition to a human one, and it moves at nature's speed, not our own imposed sense of urgency. The compost heap turns, the organisms decompose, the scraps give way to renewal, fresh soil for new seeds that have been waiting there to blossom. Between the extended in-breath and the out-breath, the rot and the renewal, all of this is the process of teshuvah, or sacred homecoming. Our parsha this week contains a verse made famous by many a Jewish activist. It's a verse I have proudly marched carrying signs proclaiming, Tzedek, Tzedek, Tirdof. Those of you in Torah study, we will get far more deeply into that verse tomorrow. Justice, justice you shall pursue. Of the many ways we might interpret that double drumbeat of justice, justice, this week, at the onset of Elul, I'm hearing it as a call backwards that will move us at the right speed forward and perhaps more connected for it. My heart aches to do justice to the future that we are all co-creating, that we all have a stake in, to look at the immense brokenness of the world and do something now. And we do that justice best by first spending the time it takes to turn and turn again the mush piles of the year that has been. There is wisdom in that soil. Shabbat shalom.
I invite you to rise and body your spirit as we continue in prayer and perhaps a little bit of that introspection, compost or not as it may be. We join together on page 282 for the Aleinu.
Aleinu leshabeach la'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שאלונות השמיים ויוצר הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת עוזו בגופי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. 287 ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Be seated. One thing I deeply appreciate about Our tradition is that there are words for when there are no words, and there is both a kavod, a gratitude, and a heaviness, a weight to prayers that we have inherited that are thousands of years old, that have held us through joy and also through deep grief. And there are also prayers that we are invited to innovate for ourselves and to add words to as our context changes and as our week-to-week changes and the unspeakable happens and we need new words. And with that in mind, I'm going to offer this blessing. It is an interpretation of El Malei Rachamim written by Rabbi Sharon Cohen Anisfeld. And as we are holding particular grief tonight, some of us because there is a loved one dear to us who we're thinking of, and some of us, many of us, because there is a wider context of loss that we are mourning tonight, and individuals whose lives were lost this week, whose names we'll read. So I'm going to offer this El Malei Rachamim by Rabbi Sharon Cohen Anisfeld before Mourner's Kaddish. El Malei Rachamim, God full of mercy, womb of the world, in whom there is room enough for all life to flourish, from whom there is blessing enough for all life to be nourished, we call out to you, broken-hearted. Shochen Bamromim, you who dwell on high beyond the borders of loyalty and love that make us human, hearing what we cannot, holding what we cannot, healing what we cannot. Help us. Hamse menucha nechona hatachat kanfech hashechina. Grant perfect rest beneath the wings of your presence to the precious innocent souls, Israeli and Palestinian, Jewish and Muslim, Christian, Bedouin, and Druze, migrant workers from around the world who have lost their lives to the ravages of war during this past year, during this past week. Shelter those who witnessed unspeakable brutality and whose walls could not protect them. Carry those who were caught and cornered, unable to escape. Lift up those who searched for sustenance and safety, longing for the embrace of home. May those souls who are with you now be granted a glimpse of the world as you see it, shimmering everywhere with the light of your presence. Bagan Eden Tacha Mechontatam. May they find rest and comfort in your holy garden. Ana Ba'al Harachamim, please, Sovereign of mercy, hide them beneath the cover of your wings forever, and let their souls be bound with ours, summoning us all to righteousness and hope. May your unending love be their inheritance. May their eternal resting place be your peace. And let us say, Amen. Okay. Before we recite the words of Mourner's Kaddish, we are grieving the recent loss in our community this week of Elaine Levitin, wife of Kevin McCarthy, mother of Alicia and David Levitin, Rhoda Oakes, mother of David Oakes, Julie Black, Larry Oakes, and Jonathan Oakes, and Meredith, grandmother to Michael and Elizabeth and Aaron, great-grandmother to Bridget, Malcolm Garber, parent of Michelle, Steve, Amy, Mark, and Stephanie, grandparent of Angie, Christina, Jeffrey, and Josh. We are recognizing Shiva for Thomas Simon, father of Daniel Simon, father-in-law of Tessa, and grandfather to Emma and Henry, and observing Shloshim for Sharon Glickman, grandmother of Jacob and Shoshana Glickman. And we are thinking of the hostages whose lives were lost. Hirsch Goldberg Paulin, age 23, Eden Yerushalmi, age 24, Ori Danino, 25, Alex Lobanov, 32, Carmel Gat, 40, and Almag Sarusi, age 25. I'm thinking of all those whose lives were lost. We are also holding memories. We are recognizing the yard sites of Harold Ansel, Evelyn Burnson, Linda Bourne, Robert Cohen, Denise Cohen, Blossom Cohon, Edward Corey, Rudolph Fellner, Morton Fine, Esther Hannah Fishman, Betty Friedman, Bertram Freilich, Cheryl Friedman, Rachel Funk, Philip Garber, Peter Genatosio, Frida Gendler, Harry Gerstein, Samuel Gottnick, Natalie Goldberg, Eliza Hadass, Dorothy Hornstein, Sherry Israeloff, Pamela Jacobs, Betty Jacobs, Bernice Cahan, Rita Kahn, David Katz, Martin Keene, Carol Levacote, Jonathan Lazarus, Paul Levitin, Ralph Levy, Jacob Lustig, Maria Magnus Palmer, Ruben Marshall, Juan Metzger, Amy Myers, Dolores Newman, William Rashkov, Kenneth Rosen, Benjamin Rosenberg, Leah Roth, Marie Rubin, Gail Shapiro, Amy Louise Spencer, Seymour Spieler, Riva Schwartz, Robert Avram Weisberg, Aaron Weiss, Belle Weiss, Abe Wexler, Warren Stark Wolkenberg, Nathan Worshel, and Herbert Zlotnick. Especially because I am new, if there are names I mispronounced, and if there are names that were not read that you would like to share with our community and relationships, if you'd like to add them as well, people that you are thinking of before we offer the words of Mourner's Kaddish, I invite you to do so now as my hand meets yours. Thank you. Thank you. Holding all those names said out loud, those who have no one to say a name for them out loud. Invite you first to rise if you are in the first weeks or the first days of mourning the loss of a loved one, so that we can recognize you. We invite you to stand. And if you are observing the yahrzeit or Shiv'ah or Shloshim for a loved one, we invite you to stand. And if it is your custom to stand alongside those who are mourning, if you are mourning any and all who have been named, we offer these timeless words and recognize that every name has an entire life behind it that is precious. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, ve'alma divarach yiruteh ve'amlich malchuteh, v'chayechon u'vyomechon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam olmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudasha barichu le'ela minkol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata ta'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama Rabbah min shemaya lechaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom, alenu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru, amen. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be for blessing. And one of the deepest wisdoms that we inherit from those who have passed on is to be able to coexist. There can be sound, there can be grief, and there can be joy. And those of us who are able to experience joy, we want you to share it. We want to hear it. That is also a deeply important part of why we gather in community. So we make that shift, holding everything that we're holding from the prayer that was said to the blessing of being in a community where joy is also happening in our lives. And whether it's a big joy or a small joy or unquantifiable, we'd like to hear about it. So we're going to walk around with a microphone, and I'd love to see a few hands of folks who want to tell us what has been sweet in this week that has passed.
Rabbi Laura, you were talking about newness earlier, and I will say I got to see your babies today, which were wonderful and very cute. So that was a simcha in my week, was seeing those little ones and smelling the newness of little baby Nava and her smile.
Smelly. It was smelly. And on that note of newness, I love the new songs that you brought to the sanctuary that I have at least not gotten a chance to pray with you. So what a delight. Thank you. Anyone else? What's happening in your weeks? Yes.
Gonna start off strong. At Camp Kesher this weekend, my partner Jacob, not Glickman. I always have to do that. My partner Jacob of 5.5 years asked me to marry him, and I said yes.
Last week I got to go to a triple reunion. It was my 50th high school reunion, which was the least exciting. I also went to my BBG reunion, which was a group of girls. We were together from 8th through 12th grade. And then I got to have a sleepover with 8 other women at a house and just had such a meaningful, emotional time.
I started kindergarten.
That is a beginning we're all excited for. Thank you. Oh, all right. You've all melted me. It's good. Any more? Yes.
Our first grandson will become 3 months of age on Monday, and over the weekend he'll be celebrating his first camping trip overnight in a tent. One of many.
That is a young camper. Wow. Amazing, amazing. Thank you. Here.
I got to spend time with my friends last night after a couple of weeks not being able to, and I also get to be here after a few weeks not being able to attend.
Hi. Well, my granddaughter Hannah, who was bat mitzvahed in this shul, this synagogue, just started law school this week.
All right. Well, thank you for filling our cups with deep joy. Speaking of cups that overflow with joy.
It was a good cue. And so we do. We take in all of this joy. We hold it in our hearts. We consider all the joys of just seeing each other's faces here again. As I mentioned before, having the sanctuary so full is just so warm, so beautiful. Whether we're coming because of sadnesses or joys, whatever it is, being together is such blessing. So we sanctify that blessing. As our cups do overflow with page 5, join with me. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, v'ahava uvratzon, inchilanu, zikaron lema'ase bereshit, ki hu yom tehila, lemikra'e kodesh, zecher letziat mitzrayim, kivanu
Dana takes a deep sip of sweet, sweet grape juice, we will bless our connection, which is so needed, and do so symbolically through this beautiful braided challah. And I have learned it is our custom here at Temple Beth Am to get close to, with permission, someone near you, so that we are all linked to Rabbi Dana touching this challah as much as possible.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'nei avon.
Enjoy. Somebody make this a kosher blessing. I gotta sing.
Okay.
Okay. Once more, I want to thank our amazing musicians this evening, Emma Weiler and Noah Zeichner for helping beautify our services, Jamie Shore for making sure we're seen and heard, as well as our amazing Shamashim, Stephen Landau and Leah Ball. You can help our Shamashim by taking your prayer books back to them at the end of the service. We close with words of peace. Oseh Shalom Yimromav. Oseh Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you all. Thank you, Rabbi Dana.
You're Rabbi Laura.